In the ancient land of Australia, where deserts stretch out as if the sun itself wants to retire there, the Aboriginal ancestors didn't just battle the fat-melting heat, but also a tiny, buzzing, and terribly annoying enemy. Insects. No DEET. No mosquito nets. No one had invented the electric swatter for that satisfying zap yet. But the Aboriginal people still survived. Not just survived, but lived long enough to tell Dreamtime stories about talking giant ants and flies that became stars in the sky. And, no exaggeration, that's how they handled insects, with intelligence, not chemicals. Picture this. You're an ancient hunter. It's 43 degrees, and the only shade comes from your bark hat. And hope. Sweat drips, flies buzz, around your ears like a choir warming up. Every time you swat them away, it's like waving them in closer. And yet, the Aboriginal people didn't lose it. They didn't slam the tables swearing or scream, "Anyone got a spray can here?" They watched the flies, ants, mosquitoes, and they learned. They observed when the insects came, what places they liked, what smells they hated, and instead of fighting, they made the insects stay away in the first place. No need for a lab. Just a good nose. In fact, they discovered something modern. Science has only recently begun to mumble in agreement with scent. The invisible thing that mosquitoes see better than any microscope. Body odor, smoke, plant oils. All are languages to talk to insects. And if you think repelling mosquitoes with smell sounds too abstract, you've clearly never stood in the middle of a eucalyptus thicket in 45-degree heat. That smell is enough to jolt you awake, sting your nose, and, most importantly, make mosquitoes flee in horror. The Aboriginal people call that tree the silent protector. No bottled essential oil needed. Just crush a few leaves, rub them on the skin, or, more simply, toss a heap into the fire and stand near the smoke. That's enough to make flies and mosquitoes think you're an over-seasoned dish not worth the bite. Some groups went even further. They discovered that a type of ant, yes, ant, when agitated, releases a smell mosquitoes and flies find absolutely disgusting. The solution? Catch a few, stress them out a bit, then rub them on. Yourself. Not pleasant, but incredibly effective. Some say smelling like angry ants used to be a compliment in the community. It meant you didn't get bitten all day. And the flies? They left without saying goodbye. If someone tells you there aren't many bugs in the desert, they've clearly never camped overnight in Central Australia. You know the feeling when flies land on your face, mosquitoes whine in your ear, ants crawl into your sleeping bag, and you just want to throw yourself into a running washing machine. For peace? That's when you need an Aboriginal ancestral hack: smoke. Not Western-style BBQ smoke. This is smoke versus nature. In a place where trees are as rare as cool spring water, burning smoke to repel insects might sound extravagant. But Aboriginal people knew how to make the most of anything that could burn. Fresh melaleuca leaves, damp eucalyptus branches, even dry kangaroo dung, as long as it produced thick, pungent smoke that lingered like an unfinished fairy tale. You think burning animal dung is disgusting? Welcome to real life. They knew you didn't need a blazing fire, just a smoldering. 1. A handful of slow-burning leaves all night created a thin smoke ring around your sleeping area. An invisible fence insects dared not cross. Small clay hearths weren't just for warmth. They kept you from becoming midnight blood buffet. What about daytime fires? Those were smoky fly traps. When out hunting or foraging, Aboriginal people would build small fires around their workspace, creating safe zones, a prehistoric version of mosquito zappers. Fires burned low, smoke drifted around, and you, standing in the middle, felt like you'd been upgraded to an air-conditioned suite, at least to mosquitoes. Another old-school trick? Smoke yourself. Before bed, some groups used smoke like perfume, not sprayed on the wrist, but stepping directly into the thick smoke stream. Yes, they turned themselves into walking smoked meat, something mosquitoes only dared to sniff, then back off. The body would absorb the smoke scent, and clothes, often animal hide or wild fibers, carried the same aroma. And if you're wondering how an Aboriginal person could walk 50 kilometers across desert without being bitten, this is the secret. Of course, smoke had its cost. Sometimes it stung the eyes. Sometimes you coughed like a 3-pack-a-day smoker, but to them, coughing was better than waking up as an all-you-can-eat buffet. Some communities even had techniques to build smoke. Tents, temporary shelters made of leaves and branches, then smoked inside for a few minutes to disinfect the whole space. Modern folks call it fumigation. Aboriginal people call it a peaceful night. Do you know the smartest thing about Aboriginal ancestors when it came to bug defense? They didn't just fight mosquitoes, they avoided them. While you're flailing, scratching, swearing, and spraying like hosting a DJ rave for insects, they moved. Simple, clean, no drama. Ancient Aboriginal people lived nomadically, but not aimlessly. They were highly selective in choosing campsites, wind, directions, elevation, even the types of nearby plants. It's no coincidence they avoided damp areas. Lowlands, stagnant ponds, or marshes, while visually cool, were actually summits of mosquitoes and their friends. Instead of camping by a romantic riverbank, they chose high, dry ridges where wind could sweep through all day. And here's the genius part. They chose wind. Yes, wind wasn't just for cooling. Wind makes it hard for mosquitoes to fly. In many areas, Aboriginal people built camps in naturally breezy locations, not to enjoy the breeze, but to turn themselves into no-fly zones. And the houses? Not your mosquito-proof concrete bunkers. Their shelters, usually simple structures made of branches, palm leaves, or bark, were built with ventilation in mind, not sealed tight like modern mosquito cages. The more airflow, the more confused the mosquitoes. And if you're thinking, but wouldn't that be cold? You're thinking like a city dweller. They knew to light a nearby fire, wrap in leaf blankets, or cuddle a kangaroo. Warm, but not exactly low maintenance. In short, warm enough without paying the price of 28 bites a night. Some groups even use shrubs and herbs to build fences around camps. Not to keep kangaroos out, but bugs. Plants with strong natural oils like melaleuca, tea tree, eucalyptus, or spinifex all became biological barriers. You think ornamental plants are just for looks? To them, they were survival weapons. Another admirable technique: dirt rubbing. Yep, they rubbed dirt on themselves. Not to be gross, to be clever. A thin dirt layer cooled the skin, dried sweat, and most importantly, made you unappetizing to mosquitoes, like cosplaying as a rock, and no rock ever got bitten. On the hottest days, some even bathed in sand. No water, no problem. Rolling. In dry sand reduced oiliness, and apparently itched mosquitoes, because they stayed away. When others applied sunscreen, they rubbed on mud. When others wore long sleeves, they used thorny plants. They didn't fight nature. They learned to vanish in it. Mosquitoes didn't hate them. Mosquitoes couldn't find them. But don't think Aboriginal ancestors were just dodging. At some point, everyone says, "Enough, you little devils!" And they fought back. Not with steel weapons, but with leaves, bark, essential oils, and a whole library of knowledge modern science is still nodding at in awe. Imagine living in a scorching desert. No Wi-Fi, no DEET, no spray with a dying mosquito on the label. All you have is plants. But to the Aboriginal people, that was a mobile pharmacy and an entomological armory. Spinifex, the spiky warrior. Remember Spinifex? Not just a spiky bush that shreds your pants. It's a portable smoke station. Aboriginal people burned Spinifex leaves to create a special smoke. Not choking like tires, but aromatic and enough to make mosquitoes fly up and out. Spinifex's essential oils smell intense, and mosquitoes absolutely hate it. They carried bundles of dry Spinifex like you'd carry a diffuser. Only difference: no spa music, no power outlet. Tea tree, melaleuca. Not just for tea, native tea tree, You could call it the green oil disciple. Its leaves were crushed and rubbed directly onto skin. The strong scent didn't just keep people away, probably, but made mosquitoes keep their distance. Thinking, doesn't that burn the skin? The answer, no, if you know the dose. And ancestors knew. Today you buy tea tree oil at beauty shops. Back then, they had the whole tree, free and always fresh. Emu bush and grevillea, gorilla perfume. Other plants like emu bush were mashed for resin to apply on the skin. A bit sticky, yes, but in return, you got protection from flies, mosquitoes, and maybe even awkward questions. Why are you sticky? Grevillea, a plant as dreamy as its flowers, was also used for pleasant scents to humans and awful ones to mosquitoes. Some regions even mixed flower juice into hand wash. Who needs Bath and Body Works when nature's got your back? DIY mosquito repellents. When oils weren't enough, they went hybrid. Leaves plus embers. Aromatic leaves, eucalyptus, native. Lemongrass or resin-rich foliage, wrapped and placed on glowing coals. The result? A local mosquito-repelling incense burning all night, no plugs, no remote needed. Some groups dried pungent leaves and burned them like incense, creating a safety zone around sleep spots. This not only repelled bugs, but helped you sleep better, unless you're allergic to burnt leaf smell. Then, good luck. The perfect system. What's impressive is, they didn't rely on just one method. Aboriginal people combined evasion, location choice, defense, dirt, foliage, clothes, and offense, oils, smoke, herbs, a complete system without a drop of synthetic chemicals. They didn't call it integrated ecological insect management, but that's exactly what it was, and they did it for tens of thousands of years, long before natural became a slogan on packaging. Perhaps the greatest lesson from Aboriginal ancestors isn't in any one leaf or tip. It's in the mindset. Live with nature, learn from nature, and don't try to control, understand to adapt. While the modern world wages war on mosquitoes with chemicals and electric grids, their ancestors under starry skies used nothing but branches, dirt, a small fire, and a survival wisdom passed down through generations. They might not have called it science, but it was the art of survival.